Time to get rolling here in just a moment with Rush SR, race number 3 from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Here we go, green flag, and we're underway.
And that pesky Stig, of course, leading him up the hill. But look at Gamma. Cole really rebounded in qualifying this morning with a great qualifying effort. He's going to try and round him up. Tough to do on the Stig, but the Stig floats wide. And that might be Forsberg trying to dive down underneath. Did he get it done?
Squeeze and slide. One car sideways across the road, and everybody scatters. We're 4 wide. Let's try 5 into turn 3 now, and somehow they filter that out. That was impressive.
That really was. And that little move by Forsberg, diving down underneath both the Stig and Gamma, that actually gave the Stig a little bit of a quick breakaway here. And Radman is coming up on the back of this group, and he has been super fast. In one of the races yesterday had fast lap.
Yeah, really impressed with that start with that one car that went wide, and everybody somehow dodged it into turn 6, side by side for 3rd place. That was dicey, and Forsberg has to back out there on Radman. That was really tough math there.
Yeah, Radman really was aggressive into 6. Forsberg, I think, showing a little bit of even though he doesn't do a lot of door-to-door racing, understanding it's too early to defend that and maybe end up off in the gravel out there. But now he's got to gather it up, because the guy who's going to be coming after him pretty soon, you got Snyder and Chang, and we know how fast Chang is there in that white and orange Rush SR just behind this group.
And Schneider is in a backup car. I believe that's the kind of black and white 75X car that's running in 4th place now, or make that 5th rather. Now he's in a backup because of the collision in race 1 and trouble out of turn 11, and that's Forsberg. He did not go, leaving that hairpin turn, and everybody's scattering now for 3rd place.
Yeah, I wonder if he was just missed a gear there. Look at that across the line. And it's Gamma 2nd, Radman, Schneider up into that 4th spot in a backup car. Talk about a great race. Hamilton is already up into 6th.
Yeah, he jammed his 144 car down the inside of Alex Chang. Chang left him some space. And then Countryman and Billingsley going to war behind him for 5th place, 6th place.
Man, this is such good racing always here. Chang, with that little bobble now, is able to move up just a smidge as well. Tell you what, Kaylee Countryman.
There's a yellow at turn 5, Greg.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That will keep anybody from passing down here. I haven't seen what for. And a big lunge from Chris Forsberg, really late into the zone there. But remember, it's a yellow, so if he makes that pass there, going to get himself into trouble. I don't see anything that would indicate that we needed a yellow at 5.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Billingsley, who we had talked about being so fast but qualified 14th, he's up into 8th right now. So there are some of these guys making their way through the field.
Dropping down 5.5 stories. It feels like even more than that in a car that's a little smaller than an average race car. But
you know what that tip in and that first little thing reminds me of? Being at the top of Lombard Street in San Francisco.
It certainly feels like that. Full course caution. And there is someone stopped somewhere that we couldn't see. So that will bring out the yellow for the first time in this race. And there is our answer, and it was actually in the gravel runoff at 5. We just didn't get it picked up. This should hopefully be a pretty quick recovery, because the safety crew, the rescue guys, are already on scene. As you see the ticker light up, everyone's just past the start line there, and will get picked up behind the safety car. This should hopefully be a 1 or 2 lap yellow only, and I imagine we'll get some more racing in.
And we love this track, to be sure, but one of its downsides, and it's kind of designed this way for motorcycle racing, right? And the reason that we have a fair amount of cautions at this place, and it's because the curbs are very flat so that bikes can run up on them and not get bounced off and into the air. And then there's this gravel behind to catch them. And in this case, because those curbs are flat, you run wide, you drop a tire, you get in there, you get stuck right away. And especially in these cars that ride so close to the ground. And so, unfortunately, that's maybe the downside of this place, is you get a few more yellows generally than you do at some other tracks.
Yeah, and I think the gravel here especially, it's not deep that it's going to sink cars into it, but it does stop their momentum, which is what it's all about. And very nice work there by the safety crew. Look how quickly this is going. And I'm feeling pretty confident that we can get back underway this lap. There is another car slow, top of the screen.
Okay, yeah.
That is not moving. And that could be a mechanical problem, perhaps. TJ Hunt, by the way, is dropped down to 35th. Is that the car we're looking at getting pulled out? There's Ryan Kircher in the 46. Well, there's one of the Sunoco cars is stuck there. Can't really get a good look at the number on that.
Fairbaum, maybe? I mean, Rosenbaum?
It might be. This could be TJ, I would think. Because I thought he was one of the Sunoco cars on Team Rapscallion. Unfortunately, this is going to extend our yellow flag period here because while they were extracting the one car, this other one just had to stop. So it's like playing whack-a-mole a little with them. But yeah.
Well, it gives us a chance to talk about these cars a little bit. What's great about this is the whole concept behind these cars was how can we create really exceptional performance but keeping it really simple so it's inexpensive. And from the ground up, the way they've designed these cars, you talked about it, very reliable Suzuki GSXR engines and chain drive. So we got a very basic gear system. You can change gears easily by just changing the sprocket. And the panels on the car are all modular. So if you have an incident, you just pull that little module off and slap a new one on. Very inexpensive, and you don't have to, redo an entire part of the car, the entire back or whatever. And it really keeps the run costs down a lot. And then the initial outlay for the purchase of one of these things, relatively speaking, for this performance is nothing.
It's really a great amount of performance for the dollar, and they're actually adding another category next year with the Rush SRX, which adds a whole lot more power, DRS, and push to pass, and that comes a little bit more money, about $80,000, but the horsepower gain, it's going to be an epic track day machine, and certainly bringing multi-class into this environment. We do only single-class racing typically, so that'll bring something new. I think Sheldon Rosenbaum's dropping down the order, so again, I can't.
Sure looks like it.
And then TJ Hunt was also down the order in the 35th position, so there's a few cars that have dropped out for various reasons. One in the gravel, one on the backstretch.
And Ryerson Wissell is the other. There's a third driver that struggled right from the off here, too.
Yeah, he's 2 laps down. Now, he might be the car that was in the
gravel. That's what I'm thinking,
So, same story here.
That's a shame.
Going to get this car up on the hook, and with any luck, we'll get things back going. If you see the white flag waving there, that only means that it's the final lap if it's waving at the leader from the main flag stand. If you see it anywhere else, it's to signify a slow-moving vehicle, which in this case is the safety and recovery vehicle. And the waving yellow is to signify that this is a sector with an incident that you cannot pass in. Of course, all the other corner stations will have the double yellow signifying that the safety car is on track.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask while we have this moment, I heard you say something a little bit earlier. If there is, if the track is green, but there's an incident at a corner, so there's a caution flag, is it past the incident where you can resume racing, or do you have to go to the next flag station?
In Gridlife, it's the next flag station, and that's just because you never know if there's a secondary incident that you can't see yet. Right. So that's the rule. And then the where you can't pass anymore once you get to the parallel line that runs across from the corner station across the racetrack. Now, we don't allow you to race to the corner station, so if you're side by side, you're not supposed to just stay full throttle and see who gets there first. You're supposed to concede that as carefully as you can. But great quick recovery work. 2 cars with a couple different issues off course or about to be. And I would anticipate the next time we see that Hyundai Elantra N safety car, we will be seeing the lights shut off. And that is the 87 of Rosenbaum there. And you see I was confused about it because it had different colored bodywork on the right front because he had an incident yesterday. So that was where my head was. Down through Rainy Curve. This is the corner everybody talks about. The corkscrew, that's the one that you know. You come here and Rainy Curve is the big business.
And you see how it tightens up a little bit on the exit. It's actually a decreasing radius corner, and you're falling down still another 5 stories of elevation as you're going through it. That's pretty tricky stuff. Even though it's got a little bank to it.
Safety car in. And we've got probably 4 to 5 minutes remaining. If I had to take a guess, we'll see it on the timing. But again, we don't run these to a specific time. We just have a block that we can use. So here we go. Out front, the Rush Stig, Colt Gamma, Rob Radman, Schneider, Chang, Hamilton, Billingsley. Under the gantry, green flag is back in the air, and we're underway again. Radman with a huge jump to the right side of Gamma. He wants second. Here comes Schneider in the 75 car down the front straightaway.
And look at Chang way tight to the inside. I hope he doesn't just think I can get it all done here. He doesn't. He backs out of it a little bit, but he does get underneath Radman as Schneider froze Radman, and that allows Chang here to have a shot. Radman out of the inside in 3.
As quickly as Radman was gaining spots, he just lost 2, and a big wiggle. That'll allow Hamilton to take a look at him into turn 4, but he'll stay right nose to tail here, and Hamilton's going to lose a spot there. I think that was Billingsley in the 9.
Yeah, Nick has just come up through the field here doing an absolutely incredible job. Chang now taking a look as well on Schneider and gets underneath and keeps that door open. Watch for Radman to try something here.
Chang would love to catch those 2 leaders. He was the car to beat yesterday. Didn't qualify that well this morning. Bit of a squeeze onto the curbing for about 7th spot. They've sorted it now and up the hill towards turn 7.
Look at Schneider hunting on Chang here. He is right back after him. Here we go. Up into the top. Schneider. Nice shot.
Lunge.
Big one.
That was from Hamilton, I think. And he got alongside. And his spin, I think that might have tagged. Oh, and he saved it, but that was a little push and shove there. And just shuffles the order a little bit.
These guys, they just race so hard. So that's Hamilton now. And was that?
That's Forsberg.
That was Forsberg that made that move.
Well, they were bound determined to do their battle from Lime Rock all over again, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Ooh, look at that. Radman is just throwing that thing around the track right now.
Onto the front stretch this time through. I don't see a white, so it's at least 2 laps to go. And here comes the 64 of Forsberg to the inside. Excuse me, pardon me, contact. 3 wide into turn 2. That's not going to work. And somehow they get through there.
They're
4
wide.
wide.
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. And Radman just calmly hangs on to it. Now Schneider going to try and get back underneath Hamilton. Can't get that done. And now here comes Billingsley.
He wants back in. Billingsley does in the number 9. Takes the swipe. Swiper, no swiping. Tuck back in line up to turn 5.
Wow, what an exchange here. This is awesome. 3-car breakaway up at the front, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 essentially could very well be into this. And then another scrum here, back in the pack just a little bit. That's probably 4th, 13th, and 14th, racing furiously.
I think Melnick was the teal car there. And look at the 75. He had a major slip into turn 2 and just got way offline into the marbles. And he lost 3-4 spots. And that's when the Team Rapscallion cars got to the inside, and man, Nate Hamilton slammed the door shut and straight lined it to the apex, didn't he?
Absolutely he did, and that actually parked Forsberg now as well. And now working the outside of Forsberg for an instant. Was that Countryman?
Bodywork flying off the 75.
That's Schneider.
And he's tangled, and the right rear wheel has gone flying. And there it goes.
Wow.
Back across the racetrack there.
Oh.
And this will almost certainly bring out a full course yellow to end this race.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think what happened here is that the 75, and I think it was Forsberg that was next to him, they might have touched. And I imagine there was some kind of failure that happened after the contact that sent him for a ride. But the clock is elapsing now as the field rolls now through turns 2 and 3. And it's the Stig over Gamma over Chang. And there's the full course.
Yep. And I didn't see if a white flag had come out at start finish either, as we were still at that point looking at that incident. So not really sure here. But as they came through, it's the Stig, Gamma, Chang. I would think the Stig will probably pit. So it'll be Gamma, Chang, Radman, and then Hamilton and Forsberg, and Billingsley, Countryman, Beaupre. So
wow.
Curious, sir. Boy, they do race furiously.
They do. And that was a wild ride. The whole right rear wheel came off that 75. He's had a tough weekend.
He
this
really
weekend.
has. Really has. Super quick every time he's come out, even in a backup car, but always seems to have somebody give him the little nudge and go.
Yeah, well, and again, it was just so tight there for the corkscrew. I mean, the corkscrew, you mentioned it's a passing opportunity, but it's one of those corners that you have to race to, maybe not through.
Bingo.
And so
you
got to go down the hill single file, and that didn't happen, I think, and they just got tangled in Rainy Curve, and it just there's body work there that came off
the back.
I wonder if the wheel came up and just took the body work with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I just think that there was a tangle, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a look at it or not if we caught the initial contact. But coming across the stripe here.
Well, the Stig stayed out.
And
so
there's the checkered flag.
I'll be darned. Normally, the Stig pits.
Rush Dig picks up race 3 here. Cole Gamma, Alex Chang, Rob Radman, Nate Hamilton, your top 5. Then it's Forsberg, Billingsley, Countryman, Beaupre, and Gailey, the rest of the top 10. In a wild race 3 here. And it's interesting. Statistically, GLTC's race 3 is the one that you have all the mayhem in.
Exactly.
I think Rush has borrowed that. We were joking at Autobahn. James Houghton was saying we're going to call it race 7, just to throw off the stats book a little.
That's a great idea. And how about a shout out here to Beaupre? Started 17th, ends up 9th. That's a heck of a run by Beaupre.
Yeah. So interestingly, the wheel does look like it has some damage on the inside there, but it doesn't look like the hub came with it. But either way, there is the 75, and he's just stayed put for now, which is what you're supposed to do. And could have sheared the studs off or something. I mean,
something. That's just bizarre.
But well, let's take a look again at the results again. Stig, Gamma, Chang, Radman, Hamilton, top 5 there. But what a drive by Alex Chang. They're up through the field. He finishes up on the podium there, as he's done so far this weekend. And man, Greg, we have another one of these to do a little later today.
I know. It can't wait. They do 2 races, and unlike the Gridlife Touring Cup, if you're familiar with that, where we do 4 races. As we take a look at the highlights here. Here, it's 2 separate days of activity. And there you can see, look at that move by Gamma on the outside. And there you can see that big lunge. Then everybody gets through. There's that moment.
Yeah, big slide there at the exit of the corner. Trying to see what car. There was a 39 car that had that big slide. And then Forsberg just didn't get drive off of turn 11. Maybe just didn't get the gearbox right. Someone spun in the speedy dry in the background there. And then just a lot of great racing here. This was the first full course yellow for a car that was stalled in the gravel at turn number 5. On the restart, Rob Radman tried to be the hero on the outside, but the 75 of Schneider saw the opportunity, drove by Radman, and then things got pretty spicy up here at the front.
Yeah, exactly. Watch Radman now side by side with Chang, and then things got really tricky up here in the corkscrew. There was that big moment, that lurid slide.
And then 4 wide at the exit of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's a tight squeeze there. That was where the 75, and it just let go. Yeah, no contact. It just let go on him.
So that, I think, that was probably a hub or stud failure of some sort, and let that wheel go. But so that's good to know. I mean, that, it wasn't contact. Somebody didn't take him out. You hate to see that.
Yeah, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We've got some content to show you, and we'll be back with Gridlife Touring Cup Race 3 right after this.